Well, it's a very, very good evening and a warm welcome to Elections 2014, our special pre-election show. My name is Leanne Manus. Now, exactly 2 weeks' time, South Africans will be going to the polls for what is billed as probably the most important general elections since 1994. In tonight's show, we'll be crossing live to our reporter in Port Elizabeth, that's Thami Dickson, where the looming withholding of rates and taxes to the municipality could have a devastating effect on the Metro's ability to provide services. And also, we'll have the latest election issues from the KwaZulu-Natal town of Wentworth, where our reporter Blain Herman is standing by. So those gentlemen waiting for us, and we'll cross them a bit later on. Now, you're most welcome to take part in tonight's show. Please send us your emails to elections@sabc.co.za. You can also SMS us on 33726. All you must do is begin your message with the word vote, and that SMS will cost you R1.50. For tweets, use the hashtag SABC Elections. And you can also find us on Facebook at SABC News Online. Right, let's begin the show with a wrap of some important election news from the day. Limpopo Premier Stan Matabata says he has it on good authority that the people of Malamulele will vote come election day. Violent demonstrations have been held at the town where residents want a single municipality for the area.
So I think this government...
Matabata says the community wants to give President Jacob Zuma a chance to intervene on their behalf after the elections. The Premier was speaking at the launch of 20 Years of Democracy celebrations in Polokwane.
I got reliable information from people in Malamulele who informed me that, Premier, we had a meeting day before yesterday till very late, and they've taken a decision in that meeting that they are going to vote on the 7th of May.
The IEC says it's too late to reopen the voter registration for those who didn't register. Co-President Musiwa Lekota started his election campaign in the Eastern Cape with a visit to the Tembu King Buyelekaya Dalinyebo. The king, a member of the DA, said it was important that political parties were free to campaign where they wished.
Well, I stand on a throne that represents fatherhood of the nation. This is why all organizations are welcome here.
Lekota's message to voters in the region was that South Africa needed to start eradicating its growing debt.
It's vital that our people make the choices that will make it possible for us to overcome those difficulties so that we can pay full attention to the agenda of education and training and generally uplifting the lives of the people of our country.
It is not out of the ordinary for political parties to pay a courtesy visit to a traditional leader before setting out on the campaign trail.
Your traditional monarchies still play quite a key role. They act as the custodian of the community. So, in essence, what political parties are trying to do there is they are respecting culture and going via the custodian to almost receive a blessing, if you will, to engage the community.
The IEC in the Free State says it's ready and prepared for the May 7 general elections compared to previous years when its preparations were said to be shambolic. The IEC says security materials have already been distributed for safekeeping at police stations. Enough voting material has been procured for the province's more than 1,500 voting districts.
This election, as everybody knows, is going to be very challenging. But where we have controls, we are leaving no stone unturned, and we have no room for failure at this point in time.
The Freedom Park in Pretoria has hosted an Interfaith prayer session for the IEC to host peaceful, free and fair elections. An Interfaith delegation comprising delegates from various faiths attended the prayer meeting.
We have done everything that is humanly possible. That's why we were praying this morning. The things that are not in our hands, we'll leave them up to God. But in terms of the preparations, those preparations are proceeding exceedingly well, and we are confident as the Electoral Commission that South Africa is on the verge of having yet another great election.
The IEC says prayers are needed to ensure free and fair elections.
Well, election fever has not yet caught on in some parts of the upmarket areas of Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. However, some residents of the affluent suburbs do have burning issues which they hope their votes will help to address.
Warmer Downs is one of the affluent and quiet suburbs in Port Elizabeth. With its pricey homes, it remains largely an exclusive area for the well-heeled. Election fever has, however, not really caught on here. There are no political party posters on the streets urging people to vote for them. Barry and Kim Robertson, who run a successful business, have lived in the suburb for 23 years. Their 3 children grew up here. The Robertsons are grateful for the opportunities a democratic South Africa continues to provide them.
I actually get emotional when I think about the struggles of the people prior to 94, and to this day even. It really cuts me deep that people don't have sanitation, that they've still got long drop toilets. I can't tell you what that does to me on a daily basis. We sit in our lovely homes, and some of us don't even know what our brothers and sisters are going through.
They also admit that while Barry started his automation business during the apartheid era in the 1980s, it was the dawn of democracy that broke down trade barriers and opened growth and investment opportunities for them.
Obviously, we couldn't do business outside the boundaries of South Africa, so we did automation for the motor industry. And just to, you know, when everything changed and we were allowed into the free world, we were then, with our technology, and you know, that's what I say, South Africans are so good. We got into the South America, into the Americas, China, India, Russia. We just went into the world market with our ideas.
While they are excited about the progress made over the last 20 years of democracy, like many people, they have several issues that they feel need to be addressed urgently. One of them is crime. Having been victims of crime, their house now is heavily secured, with an electric fence and strong security doors.
We have had 4 robbers come over our wall, tie up our domestic worker, chop up our safe. So we have, you know, been victims of crime. But it's not something that weighs on our mind every single day, but we're very, very aware of crime. Yes, we are. And I'd love more money, as Barry said, to be spent more up the salaries of policemen, give them a sense of self-pride, and I think we'd be okay.
Right. Corruption in government, especially in the Nelson Mandela Metro here in Port Elizabeth, is another source of major concern to them.
You know, when you want to have a stable business, you need to have a stable management system. So yeah, you need to get the stable, and I heard a little while ago, Zuma was here, I think, last week, and he promised that he's going to get involved now and sort out and help sort out the municipality. I hope it's not just a pre-election promise and then afterwards it all falls flat again. But we need somebody to take a strong hand here and take control of it.
And back in the 70s, a lot of lawyers stole their trust fund clients' money, and I'm talking about 10,000 Rand. They all landed up in prison. And to me, there's no accountability in our government at the moment, and I'm afraid that, Thami, corruption filters down, and that there's not this pristine, shining example. So all our politicians don't have an example to aspire to, and that there's far too much corruption going on and not enough accountability.
While they are wealthy enough to live anywhere in the world, these avid cyclists say they are not about to pack their bags and leave South Africa, despite all its challenges.
I had an opportunity to leave this country. I did have the opportunity. But I looked at, you know what, and we are for the long haul, and I'm sure it can be fixed. It will be fixed, as long as you've got democratic country. Eventually, the majority is going to have a look at it. We're going through quite a bit of a hiccup now, and I think we went fast. We flattened out a little bit, and now the guys are going to. I think the people will talk. They'll talk.
Thami Dickson, SABC News, Port Elizabeth.
Okay, maybe while we're here.
Now, the Ratepayers Association in the Nelson Mandela Metro in Port Elizabeth is threatening to withhold their rates to the municipality in protest against what they say is political instability and tender corruption in the council. President Zuma visited the municipality last week in an attempt to address some of the concerns raised by the association and the business community. Ratepayers contribute about 50 million rand a month to the municipal coffers, and the impact of the withdrawal of such revenue could actually cripple its finances and capacity to provide services. Now, the reporter who filed that story, Thami Dickson, is in Port Elizabeth this evening, and we cross over to him live for more on that story. Thami, a very good evening to you.
Good evening, Leanne.
Right, let's get more from you on that story.
Well, Leanne, the very angry residents in the Nelson Mandela Metropole, the Ratepayers Association here representing a whole range of ratepayers in this municipality, is very angry about a lot of issues that are happening in the municipality, including tender corruption as well as political infighting, which has actually resulted in what many people call the revolving door in the municipality of municipal managers that have come in and out of this municipality. Just over the last 4 years, there have been about 5 or 6 municipal managers that have come in and out of the Nelson Mandela Metro. There have been 3 mayors that have come in and out of this municipality. There have been protests all over the place, people complaining about a whole range of service delivery challenges. As a result of this, the business community themselves, they've also called for the dissolution of this municipality because of the issues that they are affecting their investments and the threats that the instability here is posing on their investments. With me now is the chairperson of the Ratepayers Association here in the Nelson Mandela Metro, Kobus Herman, who's going to tell us more about the problems that they are facing in the municipality, as well as the threats that they're making in terms of withdrawing their rates. Kobus, good evening. Tell us more really about some of the challenges, the key challenges that you are facing in this.
Good evening, Thami. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We need to realize that over the last 6 years, due to political interferences, political instability and financial instability, our metro has seen municipal managers come and go. That opened the door for a lot of corruption, mismanagement, and we all need to realize that corruption, mismanagement is the downfall of any constitution like a metro or any business. We were lucky to have President Zuma with his delegation here, which came here to investigate, to assist, and made some promises. Sadly, over the last 4 years, we heard many promises from many politicians, and on this stage, hopefully over the long term, the challenges will be dealt with.
Right.
The direct challenges which is facing the metro, which is our biggest concern right now, is highly inflated tariff and rate increases,
right.
The highly inflated valuation of properties.
Right.
The community is just can't afford property anymore.
Right.
Years ago, you could buy a piece of land development when you got funding. That have fallen out of the back door because you're getting taxed for vacant land, right. For the same tariffs as what you get taxed on a built property.
Right.
We're sitting with the big property, the big energy users who can't afford electricity on the state.
Right. I need to go quickly to the issue of you now making a threat that you will withhold rates. Tell us about that. How are you going to go about with this dispute?
You see, we've been very responsible, and nobody can blame us for not being responsible. We've been responsible since the day we started the campaign of withholding rates. We met with the MEC. He made certain commitments to us in August. He haven't met any of the commitments he made. He called on Section 154 intervention, which didn't do anything, haven't helped anything. We was promised. And he made that statement publicly, a public statement. And if there's no permanent city manager director selected by the end of November, he will call on Section 139. Once more again, promise made, not kept.
But do you think that now with the threat that you are making that these promises are going to be fulfilled? Do you think the threat that you are making is going to yield any results?
We need to realize the core of the problem. The core of the problem is corruption and mismanagement. They're sitting with the Kubusa report. They're sitting with the Piccoli report. They're sitting with so many, with the audit department, which is investigating and set up all these reports of mismanagement and incompetence and all that.
Right.
These reports don't get policed. There is no action taken about the individuals implemented in these reports.
All right. Kobus, thank you very much, man. Because of time constraint, unfortunately, we have to leave it here. We'll follow this issue sometime because, Leanne, this is one of the issues that is going to inform the attitudes of people as they are about to go on voting in 2 weeks' time. And people, of course, and their attitudes are informed by the challenges they are facing in their own local communities. And certainly with the Eastern Cape now being the battleground for political parties who need vote from the people of the Eastern Cape, certainly the issues of corruption and mismanagement and financial mismanagement from the municipalities such as this one here is going to inform the way in which they vote come May 7 during the election time. Back to you, the studio.
Yeah, Thami Dickson, thank you very much for that. Reporting live from Port Elizabeth. It's a very, very big story when you hear the repercussions of those withholding funds and not paying the municipalities. I mean, it's a big issue. But in your area, do you feel the same way? Is this story resonating with you? Please write to us. We'd really like to hear you. So the tweet hashtag, remember, is SABC Elections. We'd like to hear from you. It's actually Elections SABC. That's how you do get hold of us. And you can also go onto our Facebook page. All right, let's take a break and we'll have more election news after this. Stay tuned.
We all do smart things. We take the back roads home. We switch off the geyser and shop while a sale is on. But the smartest thing to do is to be a Pick n Pay smart shopper. Earn points every time you shop, like assorted packs of Lancewood cream cheese for 17 Rand each, 750 grams of Nola mayonnaise for 17.90, and 175 grams of Enterprise spread for 15 Rand. Get 10% off instantly on hundreds of products in store. Pick n Pay, South Africa's favorite supermarket.
And where's she going to get the money for that? Look! Empty. If only she'd call our insurance. Everyone knows they'll beat your car insurance premium or give you $400. Like, hello? No. Time to pay.
SMS out to 44188, and if we can't beat your car insurance premium, we'll pay you 400 Rand.
End of range sale at Best Home and Electric. Everything must go. Save 200 when you buy the Edblow Dream Sleep bed set for only 2,799. Or get the Barcelona 2-piece bedroom suite for 3,999 and save 1,000. More savings in store with no deposit, 30 months to pay and same-day delivery. Get to Best Home and Electric today and save.
At Pick n Pay, we carefully source our lamb to ensure its quality. But that's not the only reason why it's so tasty. It's also the expertise of our butchers who select, cut and prepare each piece just for you. That's why with our Butcher's Best Buys, you get a good deal more on bulk lamb 4-quarter packs at 69 Rand per kilo and bulk Country Classic Boerewors at 49.90 per kilo. So look out for our Butcher's Best Buys, because a butcher knows best. Pick n Pay.
Pekeng e tlang ho speak out. So wena o fitlela ka shekole so patetse bokae?
Ah, ke makoloti.
O ba patetse tšhelete ya go ka ofela.
Ke bile pregnant for 9 months ke di emets.
O bitsa ba tla mama.
Ba tla vele.
You know what your client was. How are you going to know if you're not listening to me? So you can't come and give me attitude now because I'm here.
I don't know the background to the story at the moment.
You're not listening. Shabella speak out. Ka bona bone 9:30 SABC 2. You belong.
Right, welcome back, everyone. The post-apartheid years have seen a stirring of community consciousness in many parts of South Africa, and in particular, the KwaZulu-Natal town of Wentworth. There we find very active civic associations. It's also where we find our reporter, Blain Herman. Blain, a very, very good evening to you. Tell us a little bit more about the area that you're in and some of the issues that voters there are grappling with.
Good evening, Leanne. Good evening, everybody. We come to you live from Wentworth in an area particularly known as the South Durban Basin. Now, let me just give you a bit of history about this area. Wentworth was created during the implementation of the Group Areas Act, which saw a whole lot of thousands of coloured families actually removed and moved to this area. And very interestingly enough, this area was also used as a military transit camp, actually World War II military transit camp. So a bit of interesting trivia there for you, Leanne. Now, in terms of its location, it's about 11 kilometers away from the city center and is also flanked by an industrial area on one side and an oil refinery on the other end. So it's both physical and economic landmarks in this area. Now, let's find out exactly what the electorate is talking about. A lot of concerns emanating from this area in terms of in the running up to the May 7th poll. What are the electorate concerned about? Let's talk to Professor Patrick Bond. He is the director of UKZN Centre for Civil Society. Professor, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You have your ears very close to the ground. What is the major issues from this area?
Well, I do try to get to the community meetings here in Wentworth, and I live very close by the Bluff, is the traditional white middle class area. And the concerns that continue to come up in a very well organized civil society, especially the South Urban Community Environmentalist Alliance, that's mostly about your day-to-day issues, the rising price of electricity, the trucks on the road, because we are next to the biggest port in Africa. 2.5 million containers come out and Transnet's pull back on rail, and mostly therefore we have a huge problem with trucks. Trucks are coming into the communities. Those are the micro problems, and there's a huge macro challenge, which is about 250 billion rand about to be invested here in expanding this port by a factor of 8. This is the famous dugout port where the old airport was, just down the road here.
Yeah. Also environmental issues, that's a major concern. Air quality issues, a major concern for the community.
Right, well, sometimes we call this the armpit of Africa because it's got so much toxins in the air and so stinky. Sulfur dioxide has been reduced a bit, but this is the largest refinery complex in Africa. It means leukemia is about 20 times higher than the national rates, and then the highest asthma rate in any school, 52%. Here at the Settlers Primary. It's really shocking.
But have things improved over the last 20 years?
Well, slightly. Partly there's such strong activism. Some of the leading activists are well known around the world, and they've gone from local to global because of the climate summit, and so they're making connections that are very important for us.
Professor, I'm afraid that's where we'll have to leave it. Professor Patrick Bond is the director of UKZN Centre for Civil Society. That's how we'll wrap things up, learning more about Wentworth and some of the issues emanating from this area. Leanne?
Blain, thank you very, very much. That was our reporter, Blain Herman, and he was speaking to us live from Wentworth in KwaZulu-Natal. Apologies for the sound on that. It seemed a little bit low, but I hope you got the gist of the interview. Now, after the break, the leader of the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene, has just 1 minute to convince voters to vote for his party. But before we take that break, let's take a look at a couple of the tweets that have been coming through this evening. And this one is from Vineshan, who's saying, what a beautiful, multicultural, diverse and vibrant country we live in. Vote to grow, enrich and enhance our beautiful land. Thank you very much, Vineshan. Jacobus van Wyk saying, where were these political parties when our people needed them? Now they come with their empty promises. All right. And Unathi Grootboom saying corruption in Port Elizabeth is like a hobby and everyone wants to get their hands on tenders and money and they forget about people. All right, Unathi, thank you for putting your voice forward, for writing into us. You can do exactly the same thing. Just find us on Twitter, but you just have to put the hashtag SABC Elections. All right, let's take that ad break. When we return, Kenny Kunene tries to get your vote. Stay tuned.
The following party election broadcast is brought to you in terms of the ICASA regulations governing the election period. The views expressed in this party election broadcast are those of the political party and not those of the SABC.
As South Africa's most diverse party, we are committed to fighting corruption and creating jobs for all South Africans. In the Western Cape, we have prioritized basic services to the poor, improved education for all, and created jobs.
Under Presidents Mandela and Mbeki, we saw progress.
But under Jacob Zuma's ANC, today there are 1.4 million more unemployed South Africans than there were on the day he took office.
With your help, the DA will bring change to South Africa. Change that brings jobs.
The DA will cut corruption and grow the economy to create 6 million real, permanent jobs. So vote DA and let us show you what we can do, because we're looking forward to working so that South Africa can work.
Together for change, together for jobs. Vote DA.
This party election broadcast was brought to you in terms of the ICASA regulations governing the election period. The views expressed in this party election broadcast are those of the political party and not those of the SABC.
Tonight on 7 de Laan.
Ek het van die begin af deur hom gesien, maar niemand het my geglo nie. Almal het gesê ek moet Nadia se gevoelens in ag neem en kyk nou.
7 de Laan, tonight 6:30.
This week on Mobango.
Habola muna ndilizulu zulu. Hayi wewe man. Angazi ngagcina nini ukudla inyama engaka.
And you've got all that steak in your bag.
Umama wakho uyabasebenzela labantu benzela imali eningi. Waphinda futhi wabanika wena. Basikweleka laba bantu thina mazulu.
Mobango, weekdays at 9, SABC 2.
You're watching Elections 2014, 7th of May. That's the big date. I hope that you've gotten your plans ready of how you're going to get out there and vote. You have to vote. It's vitally important. But which party are you going to vote for? That's the big question. Well, all the leaders are wanting your vote. So parties will be taking part in the general elections. And some of these parties are not as big as others. They're not too well known. So in this show, we're actually giving them an opportunity in less than 1 minute to introduce themselves to you, the voter. Here's the Patriotic Alliance leader, Kenny Kunene.
I think South Africans should vote Patriotic Alliance PA because we are a new organization that does not come with political baggage of failures. We believe that poverty is the biggest enemy in this country, and we need desperate measures to tackle poverty, education, unemployment, through industrialization and manufacturing. And we need to also speak to specific issues that affect different provinces. The question of land is another issue that needs to be dealt with very effectively. And basically empowerment of our people. We need to make sure that we share the wealth of the country amongst all our people.
All right, there you go. That's the leader of the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene. And that's all we've got time for this evening. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back with more election news tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to being with you. Until then, have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.